A royal earthquake. Harry drops the bomb. The world gasped. Prince Harry, the beloved royal rebel, was leaving. He and his wife, Meghan Markle, decided they'd had enough. No more royal duties, no more stifling traditions. They were out. This wasn't just a celebrity divorce, this was a royal earthquake. The palace shook. Queen Elizabeth, the stoic monarch, was reportedly devastated. The family had never faced such a public rejection. Behind the scenes, panic set in. The royals, used to getting their way, were desperate to stop Harry. They couldn't believe he was actually leaving. They launched into overdrive, determined to bring him back into the fold. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a very public, very messy royal saga. Whispers in the wind, the smear campaign against Meghan. Suddenly, Meghan Markle was the target. Tabloids, fueled by anonymous palace sources, went into overdrive. They painted her as difficult, demanding, a diva. Headlines screamed about her diva behavior and her American ways. The stories, often cruel and untrue, painted a picture of Meghan as the problem. She was the reason Harry wanted to leave, they claimed. The whispers turned into shouts. The public, bombarded with negative press, started to question Meghan. Was she the villain in this royal fairy tale? The royal family, whether directly involved or not, benefited from the smear campaign. It deflected attention from their own issues and placed the blame squarely on Meghan. Backroom deals and desperate pleas, the family fights back. Behind closed doors, the royal family scrambled. They made calls, held meetings, and tried to negotiate with Harry. They offered him compromises, more freedom, anything to get him to stay. Prince Charles, Harry's father, pleaded with his son. He reminded Harry of his duty, his loyalty to the crown. The Queen, too, tried to reason with her grandson, hoping to find a solution. But Harry was resolute. He had found happiness with Meghan, and he was determined to protect his family. The pressure from the palace only strengthened his resolve. The royals, used to obedience, were stunned. Their desperate attempts to control the narrative were failing. Harry was breaking free, and there was nothing they could do to stop him. Boris and the royals, a political tango. The situation was messy, a public relations nightmare for the monarchy. The royal family, in a highly unusual move, sought help from an unlikely source, the Prime Minister. Boris Johnston, then Prime Minister, was drawn into the fray. He met with royal representatives discussing strategies to manage the crisis. The involvement of a political leader in what was essentially a family dispute raised eyebrows. Some whispered that the royals were using their influence to pressure Harry. Others questioned whether Johnson, facing his own political troubles, was eager to help the monarchy in exchange for favourable press. The lines between personal drama and political manoeuvring became blurred. Section 5. The palace walls crumble. A family divided. The more the royals tried to control the narrative, the more it spiraled. Harry and William, once close brothers, were now estranged. The press had a field day, reporting every rumour and speculation. The once united image of the royal family was shattered. The public watched in disbelief as a very public, very painful family drama played out on the world stage. The palace, used to presenting a united front, seemed lost. Their attempts to silence Harry and Meghan only made the situation worse. The cracks in the facade of royal perfection were becoming impossible to ignore. The world was witnessing something unprecedented, the unravelling of a family and perhaps the beginning of the end of an era. Section 6. Trapped in Time. The monarchy's struggle with modernity. The Harry and Meghan saga exposed a deeper issue within the monarchy, their struggle to adapt to the modern world. The royals, steeped in tradition and protocol, seemed out of touch with the changing values of society. Concepts like personal happiness and mental health, which Harry and Meghan prioritized, seemed at odds with the rigid demands of royal duty. The monarchy, once a symbol of stability and tradition, now appeared inflexible and old-fashioned. The public, used to celebrities sharing their stories, saw the royal silence and control as archaic and unrelatable. The world was changing, and the question became, could the monarchy change with it? Or would they be left behind, clinging to outdated traditions in a world that no longer understood them? Section 7. Duty versus love. an age-old dilemma. At the heart of Harry's departure was a timeless conflict: duty versus love. The royals, bound by centuries of tradition, saw duty to the crown as paramount. Personal happiness was secondary to the institution they represented. Harry, however, chose love. He chose to protect his wife and children from the relentless pressure and scrutiny of royal life. He chose his own happiness over the expectations of his birthright. This clash of values exposed the human side of the monarchy. It showed that even princes are not immune to the complexities of love and family. It forced the world to ask, what is more important, duty or love? Section 8. The Crown's tarnished jewels, loss of public trust. The scandals, the leaks, the constant negative press surrounding the royals took a toll. The public, once enchanted by the fairy tale, began to see the cracks in the facade. The royal family, once revered and respected, now faced growing skepticism and distrust. Their handling of the Harry and Meghan situation had damaged their reputation. The monarchy, once a symbol of stability and national pride, was losing its luster. The question on everyone's mind was, could the monarchy survive this crisis of faith? Section 9. A new chapter. Harry and Meghan forged their own path. Freed from the constraints of royal life, Harry and Meghan embarked on their own path. They moved to California, signed deals with Netflix and Spotify, and started their own charitable foundation. They used their platform to speak out on issues important to them, from mental health to racial justice. They showed the world that it was possible to live a meaningful life outside the gilded cage of royalty. Their journey resonated with many, particularly young people who admired their courage and independence. Harry and Meghan, once trapped by tradition, were now writing their own story. Section 10. The future of the monarchy, can it survive without Harry? The departure of Prince Harry marked a turning point for the British monarchy. It exposed their vulnerabilities, their resistance to change, and their struggle to connect with a modern audience. The question remains, can the monarchy survive without Harry? Can they adapt to a changing world and regain the trust of the public? Or will they fade into irrelevance, clinging to the past while the world moves on? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The British monarchy is at a crossroads, and the choices they make now will determine their fate for generations to come.